You
Yo, bro.
we live?
Yeah, I,
We live. Let's do it.
what's going on, Fighter Share family? Hey, it's a little after 7 p.m. East Coast time. You're up on the Fighter Share report. You know what time it is. My name's Brew. This is the Badger. We're coming at you live. What's going on, Badger?
Not much, brother. Glad to see you today, man. Ready to get this show on the road. Ready for a little therapy. It's been an awkward day for me. I wouldn't say a long day, but kind of awkward. So I'm ready to get in my comfort zone and get in my bag. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. It's been a real. I got a lot of stuff done because my wife and daughter went and camped out at her parents' house all day. I didn't know that was happening. So by the time I realized it was happening, it was like, oh, let's go get some stuff done. Oh, because I belong to my daughter on the weekends, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and look, deservingly so. So that's okay.
So I didn't know that I was a free man today, and I got to sleep in because it was a long night last night, bro.
Yeah, listen, and I'm sure we can make some points about that, but they got to figure out how to get these shows started early. Your main event starting at 1 o'clock. That's a bit
Yes.
much.
Yes, and it went all 5 rounds.
Well, I guess but further ado,
Oh,
we can jump right in.
oh my grind! UFC 251 recap. Listen, Thug Rose. Thug Rose. Hey, that she has better boxing skills than almost every guy in the UFC.
Yeah, she looked good. Even the one and only, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Lou DiBella was commenting on her last night, saying that she could easily transition
Yes.
from an MMA fighter to a boxer. He ain't wrong, man. I was watching Thug Rose last night, man. That jab was crisp. That right was short and sweet. Listen,
look,
she looked good on her feet.
She
And
circles.
she has the heart of a champion, bro.
She don't back straight up. She circles.
Oh yeah.
It stays in position. And I'm like sitting here foaming at the mouth watching her move. And my buddy's like, dude, I never noticed all this about fight. This thought they got in, just certain things I guess he didn't pick out. Then I'm like screaming out, keep circling, Rose. Keep circling. She gonna run into the right hand, Rose. She gonna run into the right hand. It was, man, that footwork and the way she it's phenomenal. There no other women in the UFC fight like her, and not a lot of female boxers fight like her. That head movement, I mean, that Jessica Andrade, she's not a boxer, but she was moving her head like somebody had a gun on her.
Yeah, I was noticing that, and that's because she was anticipating the punches coming because she didn't trust the eyes to see them. So a lot of that movement that you saw was just her insecurities and be able to catch up with the hand speed of Thug Rose.
Yep.
But that was a hell of a fight. Both ladies did their thing.
Yeah.
Andrade came in and was who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a much better showing of herself this fight than she did last fight. And look, Thug Rose did her thing. She stayed safe. She stayed smart, stuck to her game plan. She got hurt a few times. I thought the fight was going to go the other way, but she managed to pull it out. A hell of a fight, man.
Yeah. She took the first 2 rounds. And then by the time it got to the 3rd round, it was just don't get killed. That was pretty much it was really good. And your girl, Van Zant, Paige, Cheryl Gay Page. Listen, she ran into a buzzsaw who found ways to keep transitioning for that armbar. And she was one step ahead of Paige. And there really wasn't a lot Paige can do once she got taken down.
I mean, look, I did not see that fight going that way only because Paige has had so much time off that I figured she would have been ready for that. But when you jump in that deep water and you're not ready to swim, it happens. She didn't make it out of the first round. That was not the showing that she wanted coming off a long hiatus. Uh, and Dana White at the end of the fight or at the press conference, kind of like, hey, if she's mad about what she's getting paid, it's not necessarily my fault. I'm contracted to give everybody 3 fights a year. You can fight more if you want. But basically said that shit like, I mean, he didn't say she looked bad, but he pretty much said, yeah, she's more than welcome to go test free agency.
Yeah.
And I think that was based solely upon the performance that she had yesterday.
It was horrible. And she knew it when it was over.
Oh, yeah.
She knew it. Hey, look. The title fights were good. Your boy Jose Aldo, he looked good the first, but then he went away from what worked. He went away from the leg kicks. He wanted the exchange, and then he slowed down. And Jan just ate him up.
The only reason why I was okay with this is because everything that we said, well, not everything, 2 of the 3 fights predicted just the way we said they would. And this was one of them. Look, the old dog just got tired, man. It was great for 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But then you realize that, man, this is not for the older people. And in heavyweight divisions, you can last a little bit longer because you don't need as many reflexes and skills. But in this particular matchup, it wasn't the reflexes and skills. It was just the will to win. It just seemed like Jan was just determined. Even when Aldo was landing good flush kicks and throwing nice straight rights, it didn't matter. And like we said in the preview to this fight on Thursday on the Beatdown, every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we said it. We said, hey, man, this dude he's a pure boxer. He's strong. He cuts and kicks and knees and elbows off the break, and he's strong. He's Russian strong. So we all kind of saw this kind of battle of attrition coming, and man, it just broke Aldo real bad.
Aldo's only 34. He's been fighting forever.
Yeah, but like Jorge, a lot of miles, man.
Yeah, a lot of miles. And I mean, if he had just stuck to those leg kicks, they were getting Neon. They were getting to him. He threw 3 leg kicks in like 2 rounds and got away from him. I was like, dude, every time you hit him with the leg kick, he spins or he almost falls. Keep working the leg kicks. You got to work them repeatedly. But, I'm not in there. So I don't know what was going on with him. Jan won it fair and square. Now, Max blessed Holloway. The robbery of the century in the UFC. Clear robbery. When Dana White says at the press conference, can't let it go to those guys because they don't know what they're doing.
Now, Dana did speak kind of, I mean, he didn't really delve into it, but he kind of said, hey, everything was great on Fight Island tonight, pretty much with the exception of my referee and my judges. Mm-hmm. He was very critical of the ref in the Jose Aldo, Peter Yan fight because he thought that fight should have been stopped early. I think a lot of us did, but I'm sure the fighter in Aldo was kind of okay with it going. It's hard to say. Luckily, it worked out okay. Yeah. But the judging in this fight, man, was just, I had it 3 rounds or 2 Holloway, but I'll tell you this. The 3rd round was close.
No.
I thought the 3rd round was close. I thought that even though Holloway was still effective, I thought you could give Volko credit for landing the harder, cleaner shots. The first 2 rounds, easily Holloway. The 3rd round, I could see how I didn't have it going to Volko, but I could see how someone else could. And in the last 2 rounds, I thought Volko won. So are we surprised? No. And Holloway should have felt that and really stepped on the gas more in the 5th round, but he was hurt.
Here's what my argument is. As a judge, I'm looking at the first 2 rounds. Max knocked him down in each of those rounds.
Indeed.
Volkanovski did not do anything in those 2 rounds. So because Max controlled the ring, controlled the tempo, and knocked you down, they could have easily been 10-8 rounds. Because Alex didn't do anything to counteract that throughout the round. It was like he was non-existent. So I just knew one of those rounds was going to be a 10-8 round. That would have changed the whole complexion of the fight.
You know what, brother? 2 times for the win for you. You're absolutely right. I totally forgot about that second knockdown. The first one, I remember, and that should have been a 2-point round. You're right, unless the judges didn't score the knockdown. That's the only way that you don't get that 2-point. But you know what? No, but it's not boxing.
It's not about, but here's why only reason why I'm making this point is because Alex was virtually non-existent punch wise in those first 2 rounds. It wasn't like he did anything to combat the knockdown. It wasn't that knockdown. Those 2 knockdowns were icing on the cake in those first 2 rounds. It'd be one thing if, you know, if they went back and forth in an exchange for most of the round. Alex was pretty much getting pummeled by Max the first 2 rounds. So to me, those knockdowns were separation. It's not like boxing where it's an automatic 10-8. But you're at liberty to score that at 10-8 when the other opponent has not done anything. You've controlled the round and you knocked them down. You can give them a 10-8 round. And that's why I thought at least one of those rounds was going to go 10-8. But it barely went his way in those 2 rounds. So
yeah, you're right about that. And obviously, you know, the main event that we were all waiting for that we saw.
We called that.
Yeah. And I don't know, we're running way long on this segment, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this fight. And not that we need to spend a lot of time on it. Usman did what Usman does. I just hate that people, casuals, or even some boxing people that watch this fight called the fight boring and said that it wasn't championship caliber fighting. Listen, everybody stay in perspective lanes. If you don't know MMA, you're just a fight fan, just enjoy it for what it is. If you're a boxing fan, if you're an MMA fan, but you just kind of watch boxing casually, just watch it and enjoy it for what it's worth. I thought they gave a lot of criticism to Usman for what he did, but Masvidal is not a joke. He's a hell of a striker. Both fighters were not really that well prepared, so they both had to kind of stick with what they knew and were comfortable doing. And we knew Usman was going to be the bigger, stronger guy in that fight. He just did it. He mauled him. He smothered, made it real uncomfortable for him. I don't know how many clean shots Masvidal landed the whole fight, along with the toe stomping, the shoulders, the body shots. It was just a rough night at the office for Masvidal. But you got to give Cuban Street Jesus some props, man. He's a fighter, and he say, you know, after it was all said and done, they both gave each other mutual respect. And he said he'll be looking forward to seeing Usman very soon.
You know, like you said, we'll probably talk about this on the Beatdown tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like Tuesday and Thursday. But I don't give Masvidal a lot of credit for last night's performance. I don't. I've seen him better. Just be honest. If your body wasn't right, your body wasn't right. But you did nothing in that fight to show that you belonged in that fight. Not one thing did you do but talk that showed you belonged in that fight. And I know you're a better fighter than that. I know you're a much better fighter. You were better when you were fighting with Kimbo Slice on the streets of Miami. You were better when whether either he pulled your card or something was wrong. But I can't give you credit for that performance just for showing up. Can't do it.
Not mad at you. And with that being said, we transition away. Punch, counter punch. Did you get a chance to see any of this?
What? Yeah.
I don't know if you got a chance to see any Tank sparring video against Ivan Redkach, but here's the bigger picture, right? And I would have liked to have made an adjustment to our topic without adding some context to it. This should have been entitled Adrian Broner and Tank's Weekend, right?
Yeah.
Because they both came out like, hey, we both have been, well, one of us is fat and the other is an aspiring rapper. And at this point, we both need to get back to what we do best, and that's box. And we saw Tank looking like he was weighing easily 160.
Wow, yeah.
In there fighting Ivan Redkach. And he was pummeling Redkach, but we know that Ivan's a durable welterweight. Not saying that I would think he would beat Davis in a fight per se, but I think this video just showed more about Gervonta Davis than it did about Ivan Redkach. Tank's fat. He looks fat. I mean, granted, he can punch. He's a fighter, so he's always going to be able to do that. But nothing about his physical appearance looked good. And if I'm a real Tank Davis fan, I am concerned because what else should you be doing other than trying to stay ready? But that's luxury being Tank Davis. On the flip side of that, Adrian Broner posted a video with him and Coach Kevin Cunningham down in Palm Beach in the hot box, putting in some work and say he's ready for anybody at 140, which We've already been advocating for him fight going back to 140. Sounds like he's going to be there. We know Kevin ain't with the BS. So I guess both Tank and AB are back. The Fat Boys broke up. Not this. So this is what we got.
Listen, when I hear Adrian Bronner, I don't take anything seriously. That's the level that he's brought me to. I don't expect anything legitimate that's gonna come off an Adrian Bronner post. I just don't. I used to, but I just don't. And I give Tank a little bit of credit. Tank may look a little fluffy, but I know when it's time for Tank to fight, Tank's gonna come in looking like a tank, a Sherman tank, and not a fish tank.
I mean, that sounds good, but I think this is what the Tank detractors have always said. There appears to be zero discipline for someone with the unique skill set and the ability that he has, withstanding the amount of power this young man possesses at 130, 135, and looks like 140 pounds now. Well, not now, but eventually he'll probably move up to 140 pounds. Bro, it's like he's been touched by the gods, but then he squanders away because he's 100. Listen, I'm being generous. He was way more than 160 pounds in that video. Right. Okay. He had on a white shirt, looked like a nightgown. He was much too big. And it just didn't look good. So, you know, when he starts getting into these tough fights, man, or moving up in to these tougher divisions, these bad habits are going to rear the ugly heads. And this happens all the time with a lot of these young fighters. I hope he learns and quickly gets a handle on this, because he's not going to get any younger. No. He's 25, whatever. He still got a little time, but these bad habits become hard to break.
And on that, I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, you know, I could show up and show him a living example. So I you know, it's real. When I was competing and doing stuff, I could get up and make a lasagna in the middle of the night because I had to get up and run in the morning. And literally, I'm not being facetious. That happened.
Yeah.
And it leads to other health problems beyond just being able to compete. So unfortunately, even though this is punch counter punch, I'm gonna have to agree with you on this. There's really no counter I have on it.
Yeah. Well, you know, some people are saying, oh, he's still young, so he's still filling out. Well, I say this, look, I'm all for these guys doing what they need to do.
Filling out?
Get paid, bro, listen, that's what I saw on somebody commented that, right?
What do they think is baby fat?
I have no idea. Even though he was in a couple trimesters. But I would say this. We gotta hold these guys accountable, man. We gotta stop making excuses for bad behavior. Now, that's one thing when, you know, when they try to cheat you in the ring and they try to do certain things to take things from you. But that's another thing when you put yourself behind the 8-ball. When you look like that, to the point where you don't even take your shirt off in sparring, that's enough said, man.
I think they're probably filming The Great White Hype 2, and he's playing Damon Wayans' part. He's just getting ready. He's getting ready. You gotta be getting ready.
I guess. So what we got next, bro?
I can't see it, bro. I can't see it. What's coming up? Yeah, I said, uh-oh. Bruh. Hey, when you told me what this topic was going to be, we didn't talk about this really beforehand. So I wasn't able to tell you that I got some back information. A cousin of mine was really tight with Jada before she met Will. Matter of fact, they came to a mutual friend's wedding, and Jada was the maid of honor and brought Will. That's how everybody in Havre de Grace, Maryland, right outside of Baltimore, how they found out they were dating in the first place. They have had an open marriage since they pretty much had a marriage. I know what the topic is, but that's why I kind of, you know, but the funny thing is, Tommy Davidson got approached by Will when they did Woo. And Tommy was like, man, Will's funny. What a fresh print. It was, and Jada said, no, Will's also from Philly. So Don't let the comedy fool you. He'll square you up. But yeah, so I mean, it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me. But I guess I should wait for you to introduce what actually happened before I threw the backstory in. I'm sorry, bro. I just got to.
Nah. Listen, everybody knows, so there's no need for me to throw the backstory. I mean, there's no need for me to explain exactly what's going on. I'm glad you're able to give some backstory because you can provide some context to people that forgot that she, not he, has always been somewhat of a very I don't want to use the word promiscuous because I was never there, but she's always been someone that's always been very free-hearted and free-spirited for my old folks, right?
I just wasn't in the right place at the right time. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to tell you. So none of this surprises me. What surprised me is the two men in this whole issue. August singing like a songbird. Why would you do that other than maybe promoting your album? Or maybe you really are hurt that you fell in love with this old lady and now you don't know what to do with yourself. And Will, because I just feel like, bro, you just should have been more prepared than this. From the BS statement initially saying that it wasn't true to now coming out and admitting that it was true. And then also admitting that you didn't know that she actually fell in love. Will looked pretty hurt from the Red Table Talk interview. He looked hurt. He did a good job. He's an actor, so he kept it together. But man to man, he looked hurt.
First of all, when you got that open door relationship, you always chance that. Especially like he said, he's swinging Big Willie style. So he figured, ain't nobody else gonna be able to touch all the walls but him. So when you
gotta relax, bro. Like you didn't have to do that. You gotta chill, bro.
When you find out that sometimes there's more to it than that, now you shook. Like, how in the world did she catch feelings for dude?
Yeah, and then not so much that. The weird part about it is, from what I gather, is that this kid, or not kid, this young man that she was dating was a friend of the family. So all this happened allegedly under Will's nose. It sounds like Will was okay with the open aspect of the relationship, but he didn't think it was happening with this kid. And I mean, this young man, and the fact that this young man was in his house all the time, hanging around his children, going on trips. He just had no idea. I don't know how you can be this oblivious unless you're living in Hollywood with the rest of the people. So other than that, I don't know how you could be this oblivious, but yeah, Will was definitely hurt. Notwithstanding, at least the ego had to be hurt. The young man and who seems to be the victim in all of this predatory behavior is actually coming out as somewhat of a hero. I don't buy that because I'm an old school dude. I'm kind of a pig that way. I feel like men should not be doing the kind of things that he's done, crying about what you did when you agreed to the arrangement in the first place. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is, man. These new kids, what can I say?
Will probably gotten that behind.
Hey, I know with some furniture moving at the residence.
Yeah, that's when. Listen, I heard somebody say something a long time ago, and it bodes true in every situation. This guy I kind of looked up to, I still do. He was telling me when his son disrespected his mom when his son turned 15. Dad said I had to pull my son pull him up by a shirt collar and say, look, you're not disrespecting your mother. You're disrespecting my wife. And now I got to treat you like somebody who came in and disrespected my wife. Keep in mind, this singer came and hung out with his children, right?
Yeah.
So there was probably a level of, yeah, I know you can pull. I know you probably learning tricks from me. Didn't know them tricks were working in your house. And now you are disrespected on another level. And this kid had no idea he was disrespecting you on that level. So now he got to deal with it. And which was funny because when Will filmed Ali, Jada made them cast her in the part of the woman who actually had the love scene with Will because she didn't want him sleeping with another actress.
Yeah. Interesting, bro. Wish we had more time to unpack this, but we don't. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow on the Beatdown at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, we can go some more ways with this. But meanwhile, on to what we got next, bro.
#CBM. I'm in a different different location tonight, so we're gonna make sure we can pull this off. I think you're gonna laugh. Now I know you got a twisted sense of humor, and sometimes things that I don't think you crack up about, you can't hold it. This one, I think when you see the symbolism, just in life, you can tell somebody was having a bad day when this happened. And the fact that nobody decided to help. Let's see. Give me a second, family. I'm pulling it up right now. All right, you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Is it showing?
I don't see anything.
Oh, it showed the wrong one. Okay. No, but it still should be casting.
Wait, what? Bro, hold on, man. What in the Black Lives Matter? I am not my ancestors.
Forget what's written.
Bro,
Look at what's
what-
going on. And listen. Listen in the background.
Bro, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with that.
I do. Because first of all, you got people, and you can kind of tell the ethnicity a little bit. you gotta tell who's upset about what's going on. What you want the zookeeper to do? The zookeeper, like, they fight every day. Ed and Mike, they fight every day.
Did you just name them Ed and Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Gotta be neutral.
Okay. Oh,
It's probably Jerome and Mike, but they fight.
See, this is why you shouldn't use that clip, because he was gonna do that kind of shit. This is what I'm talking about, man.
They fight.
You got to do better than that, man. This is terrible.
I said Ed and Mike. You're the one that wouldn't let it go.
No, I just said the fact that you gave them names that quick, but
They fight every day. Why am I going to jump in there? You see what happened when my Caucasian cohort tried to jump in to help the lion? You see what happened there? What you think I'm gonna do with two gorillas? Why are you talking about no? This is horrible. Where's the zookeeper? The zookeeper standing behind you. That's what a zookeeper is.
Yeah, that would have been my first question. Like, if I'd have been, I'd be like, ma'am, wait a second. What is he supposed to do?
Right.
Like, do you know this is a zoo? This is not a petting zoo.
Right.
This is not the farm.
Right.
What is he supposed to do if any of these animals decide they're gonna be who they are?
We bring them straight out the jungle and throw them here for your enjoyment.
I'm just saying, like,
ain't nothing we do with them. You can't pet them. You just watch it. If they fight, let them fight. We wait. We get the one off that's still alive, and the other one becomes food. Pretty much. We don't jump in and bring. I'm just saying that's the reality of a zoo. When you got gorillas, you let the gorillas deal with the gorillas.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say what I want to say because that's just gonna further add to the stereotype. I'm gonna leave this one alone. I'm not gonna say this couldn't be me for anything other than the fact that I'm just against black on black violence. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, stop, bro.
I'll leave it at that.
Oh, see, I was afraid choosing a clip like that. You
jokey joke.
Whatever. Leave the jokes to the professionals.
Right.
Oh, good. I see wrap up time. Bro, hey, I just want to let people know, if you see two gorillas fighting, do yourself a favor, and if you could drive right past, fine. If they're in the road, turn around. Ain't nothing that important that you need to break that up. And if your wife jumps out the car, get on Tinder, find somebody else, because she ain't coming back. I guarantee she ain't coming back. Hey, it's just what it is. It's reality. So I'd like to give a shout out to my wife and my daughter and my mom. And listen, I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't do it. We had a couple of birthdays come along, and I did wish him happy birthday, so I won't even go there today. Sir?
Listen, man. Just happy to be here, man. Glad we keeping this thing consistent. Glad we keeping it going. Glad we giving our unbiased and somewhat educated opinions on these fights, man. I think the more we do this, the more our audience and our fan base is going to grow. We add our little bit of twisted humor to some of this stuff, man. But shouts out to everybody that gets into a ring or octagon at any point in time to please regular folks who are otherwise too chicken-esque to get in there and do it themselves. So shout out to everybody that fought last time, the UFC 251 card in Abu Dhabi. Shouts out to all my entrepreneurs out there, everybody hustling that's trying to make it right now in these times. Hug your family, hug your friends, and all that good stuff. That's all we got. Fight Nation, we out of here. We will see y'all. Peace.